The cool thing about Bitcoin, other commodities, you see an exponential shift increase in demand. Like let's say silver had an exponential increase shift in demand tomorrow. Well, what would happen was everyone around the world would just work harder to create more silver. And so the price would increase temporarily due to the demand shift, but then everyone would just work harder to capitalize on that. And then the price would shift back down because the supply would increase. The thing about Bitcoin is the supply is fixed. There's a set amount released each year by the miners. There's 21 million forever. We are currently seeing the exponential increase in demand, and it's only going to erupt. And the supply, it can't, even if people wanted to, they can't work harder to make more. So that's where the price just goes up exponentially in terms of fiat, as you say. And that's when Bitcoin goes to the moon and MSTR goes to Mars. And MSTR, I say this, people get upset but it's a little bit of jokes. But MSTR, the M stands for Mars. It's a Mars real estate. It's a Mars real estate development company, and they're going to need perfect money on Mars, and Bitcoin's that. They can't send gold to Mars, but they're going to be able to send Bitcoin to Mars. So that's very bullish. I don't think that's priced in.
Okay. It's probably not yet, but I'm just going to leave you with this. Please take 1% of your fiat gains, put them into Bitcoin cold storage in case you end up stuck on Earth.
Oh, yeah. And I have, by the way, the Bitcoin maxis will like this. Last week, I did set up Bitcoin cold storage.
I saw that.
And I got a couple. They say not to reveal your stack, but I don't think it matters because I have almost none. But yeah, I have a little over, what is it? I'm not even going to say, but it's not much money. not many sats, but I got a couple sats.
You got off of 0 Bitcoin in cold storage, right? So you didn't even have a cold storage setup. You got
more
off 0.
Importantly, that now I understand the technology and the use of it.
Exactly.
It's hard even if you read about Bitcoin and read about cold storage, it's hard to understand it until you get that first person experience with it. And then you really see, wow, you can just go off the grid with this. Nobody can even seize it. No one can even tell you have it. So there is definitely an eye-opening experience, not only with the hot wallet, I use that, but also with the cold storage. And it's cool when you send it to friends and family. I mean, you don't even have to ask permission from the government. They don't even ask your name. None of that.
That's right.
So you can send it. You could theoretically send it to China overnight, and you don't even have to ask permission from anyone. You can send as much money or as much Bitcoin. I'm stuck on the fiat, but you can send as much Bitcoin as you want to China. You don't have to ask for permission. But if you wanted to send, say, $5 million to your friend in China tomorrow, good luck doing that in the current banking system, and then good luck doing that if you're on if the government considers you a threat, whatever. But with Bitcoin, nobody can stop it. Then my dad was previously wrong about this. My dad, he's kind of come around. So this guy John, who he kind of educated on this, and this is true.
Yeah.
My dad thought, well, I'm bullish on Bitcoin now because I thought the government was going to stop it, but instead they chose to embrace it. So.
Right.
And then that's kind of true, but not really. The reason the government embraced it is because you can't stop Bitcoin because it's peer-to-peer. Like, even if the government wanted to, they can't stop it. So they have no choice to embrace it. So Bitcoin is this unstoppable technology. So
it's unstoppable if you hold your own keys.
That's true. But that being said, it's very good. While the government did have no choice to embrace it, it is very good that they are embracing it because then the price is going to erupt. But I guess hardcore Bitcoin maxis, they act like they don't care about the price because they just care about Bitcoin. But I still want to see it go up. So me personally, I'm very happy that it's getting institutionalized and the nation states are going to start buying and the ETFs and MSTR. What's crazy about MSTR in my strategy is the amount of Bitcoin they're buying alone, I'm pretty sure is more than the amount released by the miners. So we're going to see this supply shock, or there's too much demand basically for Bitcoin not to go to infinity. That's my opinion. So it's just a basic math problem. There's more demand than supply. I don't see how this doesn't go to infinity. That's pretty much my opinion.
All right. You've made some valid arguments, and I hope I've encouraged you to think more about holding a small percentage of your portfolio in Bitcoin in cold storage, okay? So that nobody can confiscate it, and you don't need permission from the government or even the structure of the stock market to exist for your wealth to continue to grow.
You make valid points, and I think I think I'll take them seriously.
All
I
right.
agree.
Well, we're glad to have you in the Bitcoin community. I
And
know
now,
that the hardcore maxis are crazy, but I think, they're pushing you in the right direction, and I just want to encourage you to continue
yeah,
in that direction. Study the freedom of it, study, all these things that we've talked about,
I
and
think the
consider, yeah.
I think the thing about Bitcoin is this revolution technology where it really
Mm-hmm.
can cure so much, and it solves so many problems in our economy that are broken, and now everyone just
Right.
wants to be close to the money printer, and it doesn't even reward good work because people my generation can't afford to own anything anyway,
It's
and
true.
it basically destroys all the economic incentives. Which, if perfect money existed like Bitcoin, people would
Right.
be, maybe they'd be working on innovating things instead of all my smartest friends from college, all they want to do is work at a hedge fund. Like, that's not really
Right.
creating true value. They could have been innovating and helping create a brighter future. That's what Bitcoin can potentially do. And hardcore Bitcoin maximalists understand this so well that they almost go a little bit crazy, and they start, if someone doesn't agree with every single thing they agree with, they get very upset. But that being said, the strategy works for them, and they're going to win. But it is they get a little overboard, and they're not very nice to new learners, to be honest.
I
'Cause-
don't I don't even disagree with that. I've got a couple opinions that I've gotten completely roasted for. And I've said some stuff that like I didn't say exactly what I meant well, and I got totally attacked. So
but
I understand that. It's hard to
yeah,
come
but
in and be new.
that's also the internet, though. I guess to be
Yeah,
honest, the whole internet's like that, where people like to talk smack, and nobody's really
it's
that nice.
true.
So it's
Yeah.
not just Bitcoin maximalists, but yeah,
The
people.
internet's
If
a crazy
someone like me
place.
comes out with strong
Mhm.
opinions and says MSTR is going to be the number one company in the world, and it's going to be defeat Apple, all these companies. Obviously, if I say that with conviction, people are going to say some things about me. So I guess it comes with the territory. But
All right. Well, you have got to spend more time studying. You are so close
yeah,
to being like the craziest Bitcoiner that you even know. You're really, really close. So just keep studying. Bitcoin is a journey, right? Like it takes
yeah.
people years to understand. And so
I
start
try to learn a
trying to
little bit.
value.
I try to learn a
Yeah,
little bit every day, read a couple pages of something, watch some videos,
that's
and
good.
so
That's
it will
good.
take. That being said, I yeah, still learning. I'm not a very good reader. I get pretty bored with it, but you're trying to read these books, so that'll be fun. I hope this book. What's your favorite? I'm just curious. What's your favorite Bitcoin book that really opened your eyes?
Oh, it's a tough question. Because I do read a lot. Honestly, you're not gonna like this answer, but you know whose book I think you should read is Larry Lepard's. It's
No, I
called
don't
The Big
actually have a
Print.
problem with it. I just thought that was a funny
Yeah. No, we're gonna
interaction.
mend that. You're gonna be best friends. But he talks a lot about, the money being broken, and I think his goal was to take the Bitcoin Standard and Lynn's book and kind of provide more of a narrative to the themes and make it a little bit easier to understand and process because those books are super dense. Like I love them, but they're a little bit like
Yeah.
hard to read, talking about reading like 10 pages.
Does this book lead you to
Broken
Bitcoin, or
Home.
is it just a book
Yes.
about the money? Does it tell you gold, or wasn't Lynn Alden also into gold, or is she just into Bitcoin?
I think she was in Fiat, like, or in TradFi, and
But now she's a
so I
hardcore
don't.
Bitcoiner.
She is. That's right, and she probably holds her Bitcoin in cold storage.
No, yeah, I'm definitely gonna read that book.
Yeah,
I've
no, it's a good book. And just think more about what you're valuing and what you consider risk and volatility and the potential for anything to happen. You never know what's going to happen, and you have to look at like what you're relying on, right? So MicroStrategy to Mars, but what if we end up on Earth?
That's a good point. Something to think about.
Something to think about. And, consider valuing your portfolio in Bitcoin and maybe even just comparing them, right? So if you do all of the valuations and projections in dollars and then you also do them in Bitcoin, it's a good way to look at it. You have to factor in real inflation, not just the CPI numbers and all the nonsense that is nonsense. So if you look at like real numbers, um, And then just continue working to like get off zero, right? So you set up your cold storage. And I think the deeper that your understanding of Bitcoin becomes, the larger percentage of your portfolio that you might want to hold in Bitcoin. And so maybe as time goes on, we're going to hear from you that you put like 1% into Bitcoin cold storage. And then over time, that percent will increase. And so for you and for anybody else that's new and listening, that would be my advice, is just increase your exposure a little bit in terms of what you're actually holding yourself in case everything does collapse. So it's insurance against the system.
So you've heard Bitcoin is the new gold rush by now. As world leaders on all sides have endorsed it as the future of money, and now you're looking to get started, we'll show you how. It's actually easier than you think. First, go to your nearest Byte Federal ATM and turn your cash to coin. Byte Federal has over 1,200 locations around the country with the highest daily limits. Go to our website, bytefederal.com, to find the nearest ATM to you. Log in to any wallet, then create an account, deposit your US cash, and instantly convert it to Bitcoin. That's it. We are the only US manufacturer and operator in the Bitcoin ATM industry, and our US-based live customer service is second to none. Go on, give it a whirl, and don't get left behind. Click the link below.